Good morning. My name is Anthony Kelly, Councillor Anthony Kelly. I'm chairing today's licensing subcommittee hearing for the new application for the Nest Food and Wine 106 to 108 Uxbridge Road, Hanwell, London W7 3SU. Welcome to today's hearing. I'm also joined by Councillor Sanjay Kohli and Rima Baklini. We are today's subcommittee. We have Jack Roberts, who is clerk to the subcommittee and will be minuting meeting, joined with Lakeisha Grant from the Democratic Services team. Our legal advisor to the panel today is Hatun Zeb. Just before I introduce the report, I just want to declare that I was the chair at the previous item hearing of the Nest Food and Wine, a review. So that just wants that to be on the record.
Sorry, Chair, it's the Best Food and Wine.
The Best Food and Wine. Thank you. So this application is for the Nest Food and Wine, and the previous application, the hearing I was referring to was the Best Food and Wine at the same premises. So just to declare that. So you will have all received or seen the agenda pack contained within the licensing office report, which details of the application. To confirm, we are dealing with the application for a premises license made by Mr. Daljit Singh Kakar relating to the Nest Food and Wine 106 to 108 Uxbridge Road. We note there have been two written representations objecting to the application for responsible authorities and one representation objecting from the ward councillor. They are all present here today. In accordance with procedure, I'll invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions and call upon any witnesses, and then invite those who have made representations to make them and answer any questions or call upon any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the Democratic Services officers, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed within 5 working days. If we are unable to reach a decision today, you'll be notified of that also within 5 working days. So, Mr. Panchal, perhaps just introduce the applicant and please introduce the report, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. The applicant is with me. The applicant's brother is also with me. I shall briefly put my application for this, and then I'm happy to answer any questions the panel would like to ask, or the Mr. Bradshaw or Abishaw would like to ask. The application has been put in. Mr. Kakar has. Prior to this, we did have a meeting with the responsible authorities who have objected, Abishaw and James Bradshaw. So I'm going to put those references in my presentation. Mr. Kakar did find out from the agent that the shop was up for sale. And Mr. Kakar decided to go for it because there was a good value for the price. And he has previously got 2 premises. He has one of the premises which is running under the Ealing Borough Council, which is called Sierra Cash and Carry Hayes, 8A Grand Union Enterprise, which has been running for the last 2 years and since 2021, and has had no breaches or no problems at that premises. During our meeting, I had put it up to the responsible authorities, and they hadn't had an idea, or they had never visited the premises because, again, I would say that because there were no breaches, or the premises has been complying with the licensing conditions. Prior to this Sierra Cash and Carry, my clients also owned Hussar Bar and Restaurant, which is under the Hounslow Borough, which now no longer exists because a planning was approved on that pub to build the flats. So there are going to be flats built up on that premise. But our client used to own that. It had a live music, recorded music, performance of dance, late night refreshment. It had conditions and it complied with the conditions and never breached that conditions there. So there is a vast experience of running premises for the whole family. It is a family-run business. They have the brother, they have the father, and everybody involved into the business. Hence, they saw the opportunity of this business. They had made a lot of survey on it. When during our meeting, we did show to the responsible authorities how much survey was carried out before they went into buying this business. They looked at the problems that the previous or the present owner, shall we say, had created, and which Chairman, you've just said that you were part of the chairman during the revocation of that license. We did explain that at the meeting also that Mr. Kakkar's family and all of them understand the area, understand the concerns about the local drinkers and that. Hence, they will not be selling alcohol. If you go on to page 19 of the bundle, where the four licensing, how robustly the four licensing objectives will be promoted, they will not be selling a high-strength beers, lagers, or ciders above 6%, which normally is prominent for the local street drinkers. They will not be selling any single cans of beer, lager, and cider, or spirits mixtures will sold at the premises. There will be no miniatures sold at the premises either. Presently, the premises serves majority of the alcohol is served at the premises, but our client has future plans of when acquiring the premises, and if the license is granted, grocery will increase on the premises, which is not very much so. The whole shop will be redone, refurbished and redone, and it will have completely a different lookout. This shop has been in the area for the last 60 years. It's a very prominent shop. A lot of people from overseas also do come to visit because it serves a specialist alcohol there. So there are conditions on page 19 there which they are going to promote robustly. They will be having a training manual. All staff will be thoroughly trained. Local staff will be employed at the premises. Refusal book, Challenge 25 scheme will be at the premises with the posters. There will be signs to leave quietly for public nuisance. A conflict management, we are proposing that a conflict management course be carried out, which was problematic for the previous owners. And with the experience the Kakkar family has for running the pub in Hounslow, and now having also a premises at Sirakesh and Kerry Hayes, they have quite an experience in making sure things don't go wrong. We have explained that during the meeting with the responsible authorities, although we leave it for the responsible authorities what their opinion was during that meeting. So, Chairman, with all that experience and all that matters, and the future, which is going to be completely different from the present owners, we feel that the license be granted, and we are happy to have any questions that the committee would like us to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal. So this is the point where I ask responsible authorities to ask questions, and I'll go to no particular order, but I'll go to the opportunity officer, or yeah, we are, Officer Bradshaw. Yes, thank you. You can take your hand down, Rima. I'll come to you. I'll come to you as a matter of course, but yeah, Mr. Bradshaw, questions to Mr. Panchal, sir?
Actually, yeah, certainly. I do have a couple of questions. The first of which is in relation to the future plans for the store. If there's going to be significant changes moving away from alcohol, exactly what are these changes going to be? What is going to be the focus of the store?
Well, at the present moment, as we explained, and I've thoroughly gone through with the clients, at the present moment, the shop is full of alcohol. It has always been for the last 60 years, having exclusive alcohols stocked in there and dealing with alcohol only. My clients are saying that we want to increase grocery into the shop. So there will be alcohol, but there will be also a lot of groceries coming, which at the moment grocery isn't there in the quantity that should be required around the area. So that's their idea, to refurbish the whole shop. Mind you, the whole shop is going to be refurbished, and there will be more grocery sections and alcohol with it.
Further to that, if there's going to be this focus on groceries, why is there a need for the alcohol license?
Well, at the present moment, from my point of view and from everybody's point of view, people do tend to go into a shop where if they can pick up a bottle of wine or they can pick up exclusive alcohol. There are, like, for instance, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, or any other shops around the area. They would visit because they would also want to pick up a bottle of alcohol. So they wouldn't come totally for grocery. It wouldn't be viable to have grocery only in the shop. That's a norm with everybody now. We've seen so many news agents, which were in the past completely news agents only, converting into off licenses at the moment to increase their sales, or as a secondary matter that when people come into the shop.
Would you be able to provide these plans? Because at the moment they seem fairly intransient. There's this idea of a future plan. Would you be able to provide a proper assessment of exactly what that would be? Because currently the future plans aren't immediate. We're trying to take immediate action with the revocation of the previous license to address the issues. And this seems to me that it's going to be far flung in the future, with ideas of maybe months, and the continuation of this current license, or the application that's ongoing, would simply result in continuation rather than change.
Well, first of all, if the license is, for argument's sake, if the license isn't granted today, their way of going forward to the shop would become a backside. So they would not go forward, first of all, because it would not make financial interest to them if the license wasn't granted today. Once the license is granted, we will need at least another 2 months or 3 months for the refurbishment of the shop. I've discussed that again with them.
Mr. Panchal, I think Mr. Bradshaw's questions are quite pertinent, and just there momentarily you look to your clients. So perhaps if you could explain to him, give him the opportunity to I use the word sell. Tell us what his vision is of the shop and how it differs. So
I'll show you the map which I made it already.
Already?
Yeah, I have. Shall I?
Bring him to the mic, please, if you don't mind. Yeah, and so I think James can nod with approval or disapproval. But so my question is, what's given the circumstances of the review and how you believe you want to change?
If I could show you, I already made the map of the new design, which I can build like fully of different style. Which part of the grocery, if you zoom in, everything is there. So we are just waiting for the license.
So what are you hoping? What are you hoping to sell? How are you going to sort of turn a profit and capture the market in that part of Hanwell Broadway?
Okay, this time if you just walk in shop, you will find all the alcohol. But we need to like divide like grocery, home decorations, and everything, mixed food, just little section of alcohol.
A little section of alcohol.
Yeah, like normally.
Yeah, yeah. But what in terms of floor space, how much alcohol might you have? So let's say if I go in 6 months' time, or I want to do some Christmas shopping in Hanwell
You'll
Broadway.
find so many things. Yeah, it's like a home normal. Like if you go to Tesco, you will be find food, grocery, everything. So we're gonna put like that because the shop is big. We're gonna do half.
Okay. Mr. Bradshaw, did you want to try and
The plan is
questions? Yeah.
sorry. There is a plan already made up, which I can zoom in a bit.
It's okay. I don't think we'll be able to decipher much from that, but I think what Mr. Kakar said was very helpful. I mean, it demonstrated to me at least a vision. PC Bradshaw, any more questions, sir?
Yeah, just in relation to the conditions, is Mr. Kakar aware of the current conditions and the current operation of the Best, and is he intending to have the same staffing in the store?
It's very difficult because he is going to change the staff. He will need staff because he's got a family whereby he's got his brothers, he's got his father, everybody working in the other shops. The pub has been closed now, and it's only the Cedar Cash and Carry where all the family is working. But they will be trying to employ local people there. That is what our view is. We will be also getting involved in training those staff in the Challenge 25 scheme and everything up at the premises. We've done for Cedar Cash and Carry, because we've had these people on our board for quite a long time. And that is one of the reasons that we wanted to have, which we had a meeting with yourself and Abby Shaw to show that what the forward vision is. If we were to think differently, we wouldn't have that meeting that we were going to have with you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the question was really in terms of the conditions. Again, the things that have been mentioned, the low strength alcohol, the OS25, were already in place at the Best. And if there's going to be a continuation of the same people working there, the concern is in relation to whether they'll be able to make significant changes in the store. But there's no further questions for now, Chair.
Thank you very much, Peter Bradshaw. Abby Shaw from Community Safety Team.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Mr. Panchal, Mr. Kakar again. My question is more around obviously the area. So the area is obviously well known for many. It already has similar venues, some well-known branded venues such as you've referenced, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Lidl, that would sell similar items to what you're suggesting that you may well be selling, as well as customers going in to those local stores and buying a bottle of wine to go with their dinner, etc. Do you not feel that having those competitors already in that area would not also be a risk to your current premises the premises in the way that you want to open it up to the public?
Well, this premises has been there for the last 60 years. It does.
It's not about. Well, you're saying that you're going to make substantial changes to the premises. The history of the business for the last 60 years is selling very specialist alcohol, which I have a question about in a second. My question to you now is, if these renovations are going to take place and substantial changes made, i.e. you're going to sell more groceries as well as alcohol, are you not worried or concerned about the level of competition that's already in that area, in that market already?
Abby, can I give you an answer of that?
Yes, please.
Okay, there is properly Indian market and Pakistan market. We are focusing on Indian grocery, some mixed culture. Like I have next door Lidl and my next door Tesco, so they have different food. So we are focusing like Asian foods on that. So and alcohol as well.
So just for the benefit of everybody in this room, you're in this committee, you're saying that it would be specialist groceries,
Yeah.
like it's a cultural specialist
Yeah.
grocery. Okay. My second question, and it's my last one, Chair, is so during the meeting last week when we met, obviously you did explain to myself and PC Bradshaw about making changes to the premises to sell more groceries. But during that meeting, there was a lot of references to the history of the business, and the business obviously being well renowned for selling specialist alcohol, and having people come from afar to buy those specialist alcohol. You didn't mention in that meeting, and you've not mentioned here today, whether you still continue to do that, whether you're still going to continue to sell specialist alcohol so the history can remain in place.
Could Mr. Panchal, just to give you some thought there. So again, I'm going to sort of, you know, I've in my lifetime, I've always known the Nest and the Best to be an off license in Hanwell, where there was no other off licenses in Hanwell. And then the market was deregulated and lots of more alcohol premises, you know, not quite overnight, but where there used to be one, there's often 10 now, all over the country. But differently, my understanding is when you talk about your specialist offer, I understand it's around whiskies. So it might be, and it sort of relates to Abby's question. Could you tell me what this specialist offer is? You know, it's not Echo Falls wine, which I can buy anywhere, or Carlsberg Lager. Can you tell me what is the specialist offer?
It's like we'll give on Christmas time special offer, like we buying a bulk and we sell like a very cheap price to make customer happy
For the Christmas.
That's very noble of you to sell it to us, to sell it to your customers cheap. But yeah, but selling what gifts? What?
At the moment, there is a specialist alcohol there that they are going to carry on, the expensive specialist alcohol. That some bottles are about £400-500.
What? They're whiskies, brandy.
Whiskies, yeah, they're whiskies.
Yeah.
Now the local people, £400-500 alcohol is not for the local people or the street drinkers to come in and buy those. So those alcohol, £400-500 specialist alcohols will be there, but they'll be behind the counter anyway. So it's not going to be in front of the counter for anybody to pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I know in lots of off licenses they have their alcohol of a certain price behind the counter.
Yeah.
So, what we're talking about here? So, what goes behind the counter? Something of a value of how much would go behind the counter?
And all spirits will go behind the counter anyway. That's the norm of all off licenses.
Yeah. And your specialist stuff is
yes, it's going to be behind the counter.
Okay. Abby, sorry, I thought it was just sort of on that thread, but Abby, did you want to just quickly restate your question there? Because I wanted to hear a bit more about the specialist alcohol, but I think you were asking something else.
No, it was along the same lines. It was just more that for them to confirm whether they still intend to sell the specialist alcohol that we know the Best has previously been known for, whether they intend to still carry out that piece of marketing, or whether they're going to withdraw that specialist alcohol and just have your everyday brands of spirits, beers, ciders, etc.
We wouldn't. Sorry, Abby. We wouldn't. They wouldn't like to lose that customer that they have, which is coming all the years, right? 60 years regarding those specialist alcohol. It would be disaster if they agree to lose those kind of customers, because those customers are specialist customers, and they're specialist alcohol that sells.
I think it's important, but obviously people have different interpretations of specialist alcohol. one could argue a £500 bottle of whiskey is specialist, and one could argue that a 10% can of lager is also specialist, but for very different reasons. So it's good if we can hear as much as we can about what that specialist offer you envisage it to be. Okay.
And sorry,
yeah.
just to sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Just I'm sure there'll be more questioning, so you
Yeah.
can reflect and think about that. And Mr. Kakar can tell us a bit more about that as well. Councillor Gordon, welcome. Councillor Gordon, just for everyone, is the elected member for the Hanwell Broadway ward, and previously known as the Elthorne ward. So, and has questions for Mr. Panchal.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly. Yes, I do. I'm interested in the shop and the history of the shop and going forward. I've been a councillor in the ward for 14 years now, and remember the shop really being a source of problem and problematic and semi-criminal behaviour for a large part of that period. In 2014, on the previous time the shop lost its licence, it decided to change its name from the Nest to the Best, and there was a apparent change of ownership. We seem to be having the same trick being played this time to change the name. Can Mr. Panchal reassure me that this is a genuine change of ownership, and why have they decided to call it the Nest, which is the previous incarnation of the shop? Thank you.
It's a very interesting question, Councillor Gordon. So given what you've said about changing the offer, you're going back to the previous name. So perhaps, yeah, if you can help us, Mr. Panchal.
Yeah, they did see the estate agent when they were negotiating and everything, and they did look at they didn't want to remove the name out. The Best was also known by everybody, and the Nest was also known by everybody overseas who came down to buy the specialist alcohol. So they didn't want to move the name away. That is why they decided to put the Nest in, because it had a previous history. I did bring the history and everything up during our meeting with Bradshaw and them. So they did a lot of research on those premises. The Kakar family did a lot of research, which we brought in when we had a meeting. Unfortunately, I did ask Mr. Kakar to bring it in today, but he's couldn't bring it in today. The history that you, yeah, he didn't bring it today. But there is a history that they looked at it, and that is one of the reasons the name Nest was. But if the councillor wants, or I can advise, and if they want to change the name, or if that does give a problem in the area, then we could change.
Councillor Gordon. Councillor Gordon.
Okay. I think that Mr. Panchal needs to be aware that the residents of the ward who I represent, certainly in 2014, thought there was just a game being played by changing the name, completely retaining the branding, the blue and the yellow, which is very distinctive on Hanwell Broadway. And this seems to be exactly the same trick, I have to say, and will not go down well with the residents who have had to put up with the poor behaviour of the ownership throughout the period I've been a councillor. And can we clarify the ownership status? Because I'm still not convinced this is a genuine change of ownership. Thank you.
Well, there is a genuine change of ownership because the lease is also going to be transferred. So the lease documents would also be produced to the council. We could have a condition laid out, which we have done in the past, to say that the lease documents would be presented to the council, to the council, a condition in the license which would say the lease documents be presented within the next.
I think you've offered that in number 14. I think you've offered that already.
A lease agreement will be provided to the licensing team within 3 months of the premises license being granted. The paperwork is started currently with the solicitors. So there will be a lease documents into the name of Mr. Kakars and be produced to the council within 3 months.
That's good. I think what Councillor Gordon's got this, but can you sort of flesh out to us who owns what? who owns the build? Who owns the building? Who owns the freehold? Who owns the lease? Who owns the business? Who provides the cash to buy the goods? It's just trying to establish who's in control of this business.
The freeholder is an Indian Gujarati person, and
Yes, he is.
and Mr. Sorry, I'm a
Yes,
Gujarati.
he is. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I don't own it. Sorry.
yeah. He lives in North Greenford. Yes.
Yeah, North Greenford. Yeah, and the lease will be in the name of Mr. Kakkar, so he will be transferring the lease to Mr. Kakkars.
Okay. So Mr. Kakkar, gentleman who's with us, he will have complete responsibility
Of
as
the
PM, premises license holder,
Yep.
DPS, and
the lease.
The lease.
Yep.
Councillor Gordon.
Thank you. Is Mr. Kakkar related with the current owners?
No.
Are there any family connections?
No. He's not related at all with the present owner, Mr. Madan. The two different.
It's a Sikh, but we are not like you just meet by age.
Yeah. We obviously we're familiar with the.
And I could sorry, I could put this to Mr. Gordon if you give me 5 minutes of my history, because I've been 20 years in this business.
Well, obviously the connection between them is evidently you,
Yeah.
because yes, but apart from that,
Yeah, because I look after the. It is like 72. We came from Kenya and everywhere here, and we owned all the off licenses. And then come 1995, the Afghanis came down from Afghanistan and settled into the country, and they took over from the 72 Indians who got the freeholds. The Patel who's now got the freehold. They took over the freeholds. Their children didn't want to go down to run the off licenses. In 1995, the Afghanis came down, which is a Kakkar family, and them. They started getting all these off licenses on lease from these people, because that is what they were good at when they were in Afghanistan. And hence, you now see a lot of Afghani people and other people migrating to this country, getting into the off license trade or the restaurant trade, because that is what they are good at. Hence, that is why we see this. And because we run on 5 different languages at our place, that is why we have all the people come to us. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to make people understand that why we are representing the past owner as well as why we are representing the incoming owner, because it is a community that meets at the gurudwaras or at the temples, where they know each other, what's happening.
and it's just very, very interesting. And obviously our Prime Minister is
also an Indian now.
It also, would have sort of part of that history that you explained. But Councillor Gordon wants you to speak to that direct relationship that you have with the current owner and the gentleman that sat between you. That's,
they don't have a relation at all, but they know each other. That's a Sikh, and he's also
and also they both know you.
Yes, they both know us very well.
And they both know you, but there isn't a brother-in-law or a sister-in-law or a cousin or somebody that was in business with them previously.
No.
Councillor Gordon, any?
I'm reassured by the lack of family connection, irrespective of country of origin. That's wholly irrelevant. Are there any business connections?
No, there aren't.
These are 2 complete strangers.
Yeah.
One buying a business. There's no relationship in the other businesses that you've mentioned, the one in Hayes.
No, there are no relationship at all. No. They
Okay.
don't know.
Okay, we'll have to take. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously you're a broker as such, because you're the agent, but they don't know each other.
Let's put it like that. I wouldn't say one thing that I would like to clarify to Mr. Gordon. I wouldn't say that they don't know each other or they've just known each other recently, because they would be meeting at the Gurdwaras and they would be attending the weddings together. They would know each other, who owns what. That's a norm in the community when you're together.
Sure.
So we wouldn't take that away, and we wouldn't like you to feel that, oh, how come Mr. Kakar knew Mr. Madan?
Yeah. Everyone has the freedom to worship where they,
Yeah.
where they, and recreate where they choose. Councillor Gordon?
I've got one more question. I'm going to press on this point. Mr. Thakkar, do you work in the shop?
Yes, of course.
Current shop, in the current
Yeah.
shop, the Nest,
No.
the best.
Not
Sorry,
the-
do you work in the
Well,
best?
in a sense, it doesn't matter whether it's the Nest or the Best. Do you work in the premises?
In the current shop as
106 to
constituted.
108?
The shop that has lost its license.
No, I didn't work
No, he doesn't.
because they are running.
They are running it, so he doesn't run the shop.
If I could lease them, I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
Mr. Gordon's question, Mr. Panchal, to Mr. Kakar is, does he currently work at the premises 106 to 108 Uxbridge Road?
No.
He doesn't.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Gordon, any other questions?
That's
Yeah.
fine for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Councillor Blakini indicated some
Thank
time ago, but maybe it's been covered, but if not, carry on.
No. I would like to ask Mr. Panchal, the owner of the premises. I can't see him properly. Hold on. Yes. I heard that what was said from Councillor Gordon about you. Did you just said that you do not work at the premises and you did not work before?
He doesn't work at the premises that we've applied the license for.
Yes.
It-
But
yeah.
I have personally seen you in the shop before.
Me?
Yes,
In the Nest.
in the Nest. Yes.
No, I've never seen.
He's never worked there, so it would be very surprising that you've seen him there. Very, very surprising.
I have personally seen him at. So, are you sure that you are not employed? You have
Sure.
not worked at the premises before?
200%.
Can you confirm to us that you have never ever visited the shop before, or you have never?
No, I visited so many times to look at the shop, but I never worked.
He's never
Are you
worked.
sure that you never worked at the premises before?
No.
200%.
200%, he says.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question to Councillor Blakini. Okay,
Mhm.
when did you believe you saw Mr. Kakar at the shop?
Some time ago.
Yeah,
couple
but
of
we.
months ago.
Couple of
Okay.
weeks. I was
Yes.
3 weeks in Dubai.
He was 3 weeks in Dubai, so I don't know whether.
Yes, 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so
That
when
was before the license was revoked, Chair.
before the license was revoked?
Yes.
Before the license was revoked.
That was before the license was revoked, Chair.
If you see Madan face, it's
Okay.
look like
Right.
If you,
No problem. Okay, so
he's never
will-
been.
I will accept this, but I
Yeah.
have a further question, Chair.
Go ahead, Councillor
Will
Blakini.
you be employing the same people at the shop?
not now, because I have family running business. My sister, my brother, wife, sister, and they're all gonna work with me.
No, I meant the same people who used to run the shop before. Will they be employed again if you are given the license?
No.
No. And third question, what sort of alcohol will you be selling? I know that we read through the conditions that were listed within the pack that you will not be selling strong strength of alcohol. I'm very curious to know, what will you be selling exactly? What kind of beers? What kind of?
Well,
No,
we've covered the specialist whiskies, and we've covered
Yes.
the fact that there's going to be no anything above 6%.
And there will be no miniatures sold.
Sure. But but then that still begs the question, what will you be selling?
grocery and whiskeys mix. I'm
And
gonna focus on grocery a lot.
your alcohol. So obviously you're an experienced alcohol retailer. So so you won't be selling strong beer, and you won't be selling, and you will be selling whiskies. And gift related.
Heineken, Budweiser.
What else do you sell? I mean, you know, I mentioned Echo Falls. What will you be selling? Echo Falls or Blossom Hill or
Just wine.
yeah? Well, what type of wine?
There is so many kind of wine. What we are focusing on cheap wine.
Well, I've mentioned two.
Middle wine. Yeah.
I've mentioned two cheap wines.
Sort of
Blossom Hill
middle
and
wine.
Echo Falls. What you know? What do you consider to be a cheap wine? Given you want to, you know, attract a market that supplements your groceries, what sort of wine will you be selling?
It's a French wine, which is $6.99 and $8.99.
$6.99.
Rajiv.
Yeah, $6.99. So about £7 a bottle is what you're. Okay. Okay. Councillor Bacchini.
Yes, last question, Chair. Why do you really need to sell alcohol in the premises, given the circumstances of street drinkers, ASV, and the history of the business that you have taken? So why you are still willing to do so, although you are changing the setting of the premises in terms of selling vegetables and other sort of things? Why do you still want to sell alcohol?
Because it's an old shop. People comes for alcohol here, so we're gonna put mix. If sales big, business big, and this shop is a specialist as well.
Even although you know already that this premises had been revoked for selling high strength of alcohol, and because of the street drinkers, and the whole community is against this and they're suffering,
I don't think it's fair to say the whole community. Councillor Gordon has obviously expressed the views of residents, but there is clearly members of the community that do shop in there.
Okay, so let's just remove the community and focus on why do you still want to sell alcohol, although there are lots of problems within the premises area?
See, we already discussed about it. 60 years old shop, and people's come from long way. If someone's come from long way and they couldn't find alcohol, then they might upset. Oh, it's my famous shop.
Thank you, Chair. I have no further questions.
Councillor Coley.
Thank you, Chair. Many of my questions have been answered, or has obviously have been a comprehensive set of questions. I'm only focusing on the fact that obviously you're taking over this business under the 2P rule. Do you not have to keep the current staff, or is there no current staff on the books?
No, I have option to change the staff because I already discussed with them. I don't need your staff because we are running family business.
But under the 2P rule,
Councillor Cully. I mean, I obviously I have a working knowledge of 2P, but I'm not sure. Perhaps I'll ask how this, you know. Now getting into 2P, how does it relate to the promoting?
Sorry, I can answer that question very quickly.
Go ahead.
There are no permanent staff. The 2P works with the permanent staff.
Okay.
There are no permanent staff. The Madan has already have temporary staff, and he himself working there, so that problem would not occur. So Mr. Kakkar would have a full freedom of whether to employ them or not, rather than saying there would be a problem by dismissing them.
So it's your operation isn't fettered by 2P requirement. Okay. Yeah, Councillor Cody.
Thank you. That's the only question I
Yeah.
have.
Okay. Sure. So there's no. So what I'll do, I'll follow up on Councillor Cody. So, you know, what's your ambition in terms of staffing? You know, given the nature of what has happened and decisions made about the venue and the staff, what's your hierarchy? What's your HR vision for the new grocery offer? So as part of your marketing, you've decided not to change the name. As part of your offer, you've decided to continue to sell alcohol and continue to with your specialist whiskey. But as part of your offer, how is your staffing regime going to be?
We make them train.
No, I'm not going to ask how it's going to be new. I'm going to ask you, how are you going to do it?
We make them train first.
No, well, you say make them change. It's
Train.
it's you. Yeah.
Make them train. So it's
Train, sorry,
train
yeah.
them first.
Beg
not
your pardon. So you're the boss. You've got your new lease. You've got your new conditions. Who's going to be who's going to be responsible in your store for these? Lawfully, you're responsible.
Yeah.
But who's going to be working there at what time?
I'm the responsible if anything happen.
Yes.
Finger crossed, nothing will be happen because we are very delicate. Me, myself, my brothers, and my families, they all look after.
So it's going to be family members.
It's all going to family member.
Going to be family members. And if you don't mind, so it's your brothers. It's your brothers or your brothers-in-law, so to speak.
No, my brothers and my brother's wife, they're gonna work as well. Because they are trained.
Brother's wife. So like, yeah, two couples, and they'll undertake all the relevant training.
Yeah, we are going to be providing, as we've done before for Mr. Kakkar, we are going to be providing the training. We're going to be providing the personal licenses. We're going to be putting up the Section 57 notices. We've had a strenuous work with them when the Hussar Bar and Restaurant was there, where we trained. That is one of the reasons they haven't had any problems with the premises they've been running. Even the one presently, Sierra Cash and Carry. I'm just going to go through with the training manual that we normally provide with.
I've never ever seen it. I've always seen the front of it and I've seen it shown to me, but obviously I'm not qualified really to scrutinize the training manual. You're a registered provider.
Yes.
So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone. At the moment, let me just get my crib sheet, so to speak. We think we go to representations now. Now, obviously, so PC Bradshaw.
Thank you, Chair. Met Police representations in relation to the best heavily focused on the area and the impact on the local community from street drinkers, from people that are using the best, and what I believe to be a continuation with this application. This seems to be an attempt to skirt the original decision that was made by the councillors, by the committee, to revoke the licence. It's trying to get around that, and the timeline that we're looking at for this application to come in prior to the original revocation going to an appeal court, it all lines up towards the fact that this is just going to be the same. We've heard about changes, but I've not seen anything on paper that's been specifically put down that convinces me that significant changes are going to be made. The focus of the store still seems to be around alcohol, and after numerous questions in relation to whether the alcohol is even necessary, if there is going to be such a change, I'm not convinced that that is going to be happening immediately. I believe it's the future without an immediate impact upon the community, which is what we're trying to get to in this case. Looking in terms of a continuation of the licensing advice that both the previous owner and the current owner have, it appears that they are going to be given the same consultation, the same how-to notebook that they appear to have had previously. I don't see a change in the licensing approach that has been given by the council that they've received. And irrespective of that, this is in a special policy area. It's an area that is already oversaturated by sale of alcohol. There are numerous off licenses in the area that we've been trying to target to try and get them into a state where we're not having the same problems that are incumbent with the sale of alcohol. Mr. Kakar has mentioned on numerous occasions that this is going to be a sale of cheap wine, which I understand is not a cheap product in and of itself, and that the sale of the beers and the single cans is a prevalent issue in relation to street drinking. But it still seems apparent to me that it's going to continue to further the problems that we've had in the area. We are essentially going through a farcical situation where we have multiple different fronts trying to prevent this sale through both objections to this application and the original review and the revocation of the license for the best. Granting this application is an affront to both the committee's original decision that was made and to our continued efforts to try and improve the area for the local community. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Officer Bradshaw. Abby?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Sort of just maybe to add on what PC Bradshaw said. I'm not going to go into the history of the best. We all know that history and the outcome of various visits to that premises and the outcome of the subcommittee back in September following a review of that license. My concerns remain, as what PC Bradshaw said. We still continue to have high levels of antisocial behaviour associated with street drinking in that area, which, you know, as PC Bradshaw mentioned, we are targeting and working with various other premises licenses in that area to try and get a stamp on that and to try and reduce that behaviour for local residents. The area itself remains not as a ward, but that very small locality around the Nest remains a high concern for local residents. And I know that from sitting on the local ward panel, police ward panel meetings, various priorities are allocated to that area because of associated street drinking and ASB that still occurs. I have some concerns that obviously myself and PC Bradshaw met with Mr. Kakar and Mr. Panchal last week, and it seems some of their stories have changed since last week. Just to touch on that, we were advised last week that Mr. Kakar would actually be retaining the current staff members that are currently working now in the best at our meeting, which only took place last week, Thursday. From various questions this morning, it doesn't seem clear what Mr. Kakar's actual plans are around the alcohol. There seems to be him saying that he will continue to sell the specialist alcohol because of the history, but then he's also saying he's going to continue selling cheaper brands of alcohol as well. So that's not clear. A concern for me is quite a statement that Mr. Panchal made during our meeting last week, which was if the committee today was to grant the license to Mr. Kakar, he would be advising Mr. Madden for the best to withdraw his appeal application, which is actually scheduled in court this Friday at Uxbridge Magistrates Court. So that sort of goes on to what PC Bradshaw was saying about continuation of this premises selling its current stock of alcohol, which includes or has stocked high strength alcohol over the percentage that's in the conditions, as well as single cans. And it's, you know, to me, the history of the area it remains a priority to us as a licensing authority and as a community safety team. And I would ask the committee to consider that this premises license is not granted in this instance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think Abby and PC Bradshaw have made it crystal clear what the challenges are with this application, and I echo everything they've said. I don't believe this is a new business. I think this is a continuation of what we've had for the past 16 years. The business model of £500 whiskies, Indian foods and £6 bottle of wine just doesn't ring true. I believe they're just going to carry on in exactly the same way, and selling food, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. We are in a special policy area. The residents of my ward their lives have been made a misery because of the poor practices of local retailers, and the Best Nest, whatever they want to call themselves, is one of the key suppliers of high strength alcohol to street drinkers, which goes beyond their license. And I have seen no evidence that there's an understanding of that from the applicant. I've seen no evidence that they will seek to manage that. We haven't heard anything about who the DPS will be. Pointing to a training manual is not good enough. This is a really serious issue. The current shop has a little placard in the window saying won't sell to street drinkers when they do, and they don't have the resource or the capacity to prevent that. They don't have security. There's no suggestion of security. There's no DPS. So I believe, as PC Bradshaw, this is more of the same. And it really, as I used the word trick earlier on, I think this is just a trick to fool the committee that we're onto something new. Thank you.
My button is sticking today. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Pancha, I'll give you sort of a right to reply to that, but it could be that you do it. Obviously right to reply to those points, but I'll give you the opportunity to sum up further. So if you wanted to address any of those points, please do so.
Do you want me to sum up, or do you want me to address?
No. Because obviously there's been some assertions made by people making representations, and obviously it's only fair that you get the opportunity to respond to that.
Yeah. The first reply to Councillor Gordon is you can't have an application put in without a proper DPS. No application can go through under the guidance without a DPS. So there is a DPS already. Mr. Kakar raises a DPS. No license can work without a DPS. The second thing that I would like to put my view on James Bradshaw's and Abby Shaw's remarks. Yes, we tend to have a meeting with the responsible authorities in asking if there is anything better an applicant can answer or can put forward. And that is why we always ask that if it's possible to have a meeting if the responsible authorities are concerned with any application. And that is why a week ago we did ask for this meeting. And yes, and that is why we, at that meeting, Mr. Kakar just said that, yes, we will retain some of the staff, but it looked like that the Abby and James's views were that we could make it out that it would not be worthwhile having the same staff carrying on. So we've advised the clients, and that is why Mr. Kakar today is saying that, yes, we will not carry on because we could see the concerns brought up by Abby and Shaw. He has answered that, yes, there are plenty of people in the family who are going to be working at the premises. Yes, everybody does not have a similar view or similar way, because we could train 100 people and it could be only 60 people abiding by the 40 would ignore it. So we can't say that we did not advise Mr. Madan to follow. We did advise Mr. Madan to follow. Yes, he's made his mistakes. And here is a genuine person coming in. It's 100% genuine people who have come into running the premises, and they do understand that there was a problem created before, and if they created the problem investing all this money of refurbishing the shop and getting everything worked up, would they be just spending their
Mr. Pancha, I think it's important. There was a assertion by Miss Shaw that if this was granted today, the appeal of the revocation will be withdrawn.
Well,
could you comment on that?
Yes, I could comment on that, because even if the appeal, they have gone ahead with the solicitor's views and they've gone ahead in purchasing. Mr. Madan has agreed that he wants to sell the shop, and Mr. Kakkar's view is, yes, he wants to change. He's explained to you why he wants to change, and he wants to go forward with the investment in that. So if there will be no point for Mr. Madan to carry on with his appeal on Friday, if this license was granted today. And if the appeal was carried on, and in case, I'm giving two scenarios. If Mr. Madan would have won the appeal, he would still sell the shop to Mr. Kakkar and them, because Mr. Kakkar and they are in line. There's a lot of negotiations already happened, and Mr. Madan was to relieve himself. So if Mr. Madan was to win the appeal on Friday, which I'm not saying that he will win the appeal, but he said if in case he wins the appeal, he'll still go back to Mr. Kakkar and sell the shop to them, because it is already now going further in negotiations. If Mr. Madan, or if this license were not granted today, and Madan lost the appeal on Friday, there will be no shop there, and Mr. Kakkar would not be interested, because he would not then have a license.
There will be a shop, just there won't be a license. It won't be a licensed premise.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So that conversation did take place, so to speak.
Yeah, the conversation do take place, and we do advise both the parties, because we have Mr. Madan.
In terms of all the other things Abby said, in terms of conversation, that you don't contest any of it.
No, we don't contest anything of it, because we tend to try and resolve the matter if the chance is for us not to come to this committee, and if the problems are sorted out prior to the meeting, and that is why we asked for the meeting. We did ask both the responsible authorities.
There was a number of concerns that Abby brought up, and PC Bradshaw, and in a sense, Councillor Gordon, about the staff in there. So I might have to ask the legal advisor whether it's lawful to have as a condition, or to not have the previous employment regime on the premises. I mean, if they've got if they're not working there, and with the greatest respect to the offer you had, I'm sure they'll be able to shop somewhere else. So what would your view be on us imposing conditions on the current staff not being able to work in the premises?
We're happy to have that. We're very happy to have that. We are very happy to have that, because we after the meeting that we had with Bradshaw and Abby, we did discuss with the committee. They do not need that staff, because they already have a lot of staff in the family. The sister, the
yeah. But you got to understand, Mr. Panchal, that there was a set of staff there, and how much they were responsible for resulted in a revocation. And now we've got a new offer from a new applicant, where we're going to have we need to have an understanding that there's going to be a different set of staff.
Yes, we are happy to have that condition, Chairman.
That's very useful. Thank you. Okay. Any other things you wanted to ask of? It's just your opportunity to ask Councillor Gordon, Bradshaw, and Abby any questions as in reply.
Chair, if I may just interject at this point, this is Mr. Panchal's opportunity to sum up.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to get there very momentarily, Hattie. I just wanted to there was a lot of assertions made, so I just wanted to make sure that Mr. Panchal's addressed them. So, quite rightly, Hattie has legal advisor has advised this is your opportunity to sum up. Councillors, did you have anything at the moment before?
No, Chair.
No, thank you very much. I've got no indications elsewhere. So, Mr. Panchal?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, all I could say is we are happy to have that condition of the no staff to be brought in. There will be a lot of changes at the shop, which we guarantee that those changes will come in. We do comply with all the conditions laid out that we put down on our operating schedule. And we are happy to work very closely with the responsible authorities. And we're very happy to make sure that the shop is retained and local people are served and make sure that there are no problems in future at the shop. And I'd like the client himself to say a few words of what his future is at the shop, or what his future if the license is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Kaka.
So it will be satisfying to the committee when they make the decision. What are your plans in future?
In the plan, we already discussed.
Yeah, I'll give this again.
Our plan is to just make like a brand new shop, which is grocery and include alcohol. We are giving best 100%, which area will be happy. The people, local people will be lots of happy. This is the plan.
Specialist.
The food and Indian foods and
yeah.
Indian foods market.
So Chairman, that's the plan that plant is already laid out. So we feel, Chairman, that the license be granted today. That's what our view is.
Thank you very much. And we've noted the offer of a condition about employees.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anybody else indicating, and I believe that's the sort of final part. So we have it is. I make it. I'm not sure what's on your thing, but I've got 12:14. I would anticipate us to be back here at 1:45, but retain the right to take longer should we need to. So I'll see you in half an hour. Thank you. Would you like to stop?